It's Bob and Tom Tonight, starring Chick McGee, Christy Lee, Josh Arnold, Ace Cosby, Pat Godwin, Willie Griswold, and Tom Griswold.
Welcome back to the Bob and Tom Show. How is everybody?
Good, man. How are you?
Oh, good.
How about you?
He's got the red Dinty Moore beef stew suit on today. It's Josh Arnold at the wonderful IHateStevensinger.com sidekick desk and chair right there next to me. Christy Lee is through the glass at the Navy Federal Credit Union news desk.
Hi, everybody.
She's got her own room in there.
I like it.
Ace Cosby is our engineer, of course. Coming up, the Ace Cosby joke of the day. Ace is ensconced in the OmahaSteaks.com joke of the day zone. It's got its own atmosphere over there.
And I wanted to use Josh's word of the day from his podcast to describe how I'm feeling, but I can't remember what it was. But
well, that's so nice of you to listen, though.
Yeah. What was the word?
We can't say it if it's the new one this week.
Is it from this week's episode of that Josh Arnold podcast?
Fresh, out of the oven yesterday.
Yes.
Nice.
That's right. And every Tuesday.
That's Willie G. This is Tom speaking. If I forgot anybody. Oh, there's Chick McGee across the way at the sports desk. What was the word of the day for the previous week, or the word of the week, sorry?
Last week's was finial dobra, a Christmas tree topper.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a finial dobra on your tree?
No.
Okay.
The tree looks great, lots of stuff. There's nothing on the very, very tippy top.
There's not a what on the tippy top?
Filial dobra.
A finial dobra.
Finial dobra.
Wow. It doesn't even
You don't have a star or an angel or anything on the top of your tree?
Nope.
What the hell's wrong with you?
I don't know. I just...
So there's some who say a tree's not a tree without some sort of finial.
Yes.
a star or something.
Okay. Is that a word you use often?
Every Christmas?
Okay. Now, let me ask you, is your tree up?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Now, I technically don't have a finial dobra. I have a traditional star. So the finial dobra.
Why wouldn't that be a finial dobra, whatever that is?
Finial dobras tend to be more pointy, ornate, sort of leafy things. But I still call the star my finial dobra because of the joy and the pretension I get out of it.
Wow, that is a word you'll never have occasion to use. Yes,
Tom, do you have all white lights?
Yes, of course. Of course.
I have both. I can with a touch of my Christmas tree remote, I can switch from multicolored to
I can do that too.
White. To,
frankly, Ace, you know I'm a traditionalist. So I have candles.
Yeah. Great.
Gets real tricky around the fourth week of that tree. This comes to us from Paul. He's got a request. Paul, I'm going to try to dig this up for you. But before I do, he said, this will make your head explode, Tom.
Oh, good. Let me hear it.
I'm always complaining about the use of the word normalcy.
Yes.
Because it's not a word. The word is normality. You don't hear, that's really that's a case of abnormalcy. No. This guy, Paul writes, I actually heard someone use the word normalicity.
Oh, I love it.
It's got
amazing.
Normalicity. Okay. Now, you were mentioning tarantulas.
Oh, bananas are often just riddled with
really?
Often, rarely.
No, always. They have to shake them off and stuff.
Okay.
Not in the grocery store.
Tarantulas are crazy.
Did they tell you
bananas.
that this was coming?
No.
You're kidding me.
I swear I had no idea.
Look at the heading on this, tarantula.
Well, it's the psychic show. Go.
This just came to us. My Aunt Naomi lived in Livermore, California.
Yeah.
They have tarantulas there. One day she was in the garden on her knees, and she uncovered an aggressive tarantula. It moved toward her a few times, and she quickly crawled away backwards on her knees. The tarantula continued to lunge at her hands and knees, trying to bite her with its fangs sticking out.
Yikes.
She got up and started running and looked behind her to see the tarantula running after her in the garden path.
No way.
She screamed out, opened the screen door, ran inside, shut the screen door. When she stopped and looked back, the tarantula was clinging to the screen door head high.
This is a nightmare.
This is crazy.
This is the arachnophobia too.
This is from Mark. He wrote this because we had the story yesterday about the woman in Australia who was out on a jog.
Yeah,
and a kangaroo attacked her.
It was
kept
chasing her down
and followed her all the way to the shelter where she.
Yeah.
And it turned out that the park ranger said, they are attracted to perfume.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And she was what perfume was she wearing?
She was wearing Sarah Jessica Parker's perfume.
Sarah Jessica Parker perfume. So who knew?
Right.
That has kangaroo urine in it, apparently.
What do you think happened with this tarantula?
I don't know.
Who knows? Don't they say that moose are the same?
They'll hunt you, yeah.
Moose are vindictive.
Moose will come after you.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Well, not all tarantulas will bite. I've had a tarantula crawling on my
Sure.
hand.
Yeah, something must have happened
cool.
here.
Yeah, I don't.
She may have killed its nest.
You need to get a tarantula, Christy.
I could do that. I wouldn't mind having.
I had one for a couple of years.
Did you have one?
Yeah.
I had a case of the crabs. It was pretty rough.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that's
They chased you all the way from a bar, didn't they?
Is that right?
Yeah.
Red scarf matches your eyes.
Why?
You closed your
Cover before striking. Father had the shit fitter blues.
Why are we playing this?
Loving you has made me banana. That's right.
And it's by the way, I got to get the lips. Ship with a hard P. Ship.
Yes.
Fitter.
You know, I can
Right.
say words if I tell myself I won't curse. You know that? Isn't that amazing? Ship fitter. See, did it again. Don't have to wet my lips.
No, you have to
and
call attention to it.
pause
That's what you're
and-
doing.
Now do it 10 times real fast.
Ship fitter. Ship fitter. Ship fitter.
Excuse me.
Ship fitter.
Excuse
Ship
me.
fitter.
Pardon me.
Ship fitter. Windbag for Willie.
Oh.
What happened? What'd I do?
Well, is this the first Willie
Well,
windbag?
wait a second. Do we have our guest available right now? We have our mystery voice apparently on the hotline.
Oh, it's on the phone.
If you could say hello, sir.
Hello?
Oh.
Hello, how are you today?
Anybody recognize that voice? Okay.
I don't.
I'll give you a hint. He was texting me all day the other day. God, I couldn't get him to stop.
Joe Theismann?
Yeah, blowing up my phone too. Yeah.
Oh, is that right? Oh, hey, Seven, what's going on?
It's a legendary football great Joe Theismann joining us on the phone.
That was a
Just been
good.
texting everybody, and I've tried to reach Chick. He won't answer my texts.
That's
I don't know
not
what I did.
I
I'm trying to
answered.
figure out what I did. I tried to wish him a happy Thanksgiving. No response.
That's not true.
So I figured, okay, if Chick's not going to answer me, I'll just text everybody else on the show and say hi.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. Great to catch up with everybody.
It sure was.
Yeah, Joe, Chick came in obviously very excited about the Washington football team.
Which Mr. Theismann more or less predicted earlier in the day.
Yeah, we talked about that too. But and I just asked, hey, did Joe text you? And Chick said no. So we just all day long going, God, Theismann will not stop. He's blowing up my phone.
It was real funny. Yeah.
I had a lot of time on my hands. Let's put it that way.
No, Chick has actually already started purchasing the new gear. Do you think that the Washington football team will just keep that name forever, or do you think this is an interim thing?
I think it's an interim thing, and I hope it's an interim thing. We have an identity called the Washington football team, and I do like Jason Wright is our new president, and having had conversations with him, I think he's done the right thing as the name has been changed. Take time to really think about what you want the football team to be called. I hope it doesn't stay Washington football team. I want to see another name for us, and I'd like to see a logo for us. And so those two things are being considered, and they're taking their time doing it, which I think is the right thing to do. I mean, there's no sense rushing into it because you're probably going to upset somebody if you do something in a hurry.
Yeah, in the world
So
we
why
live
not
in,
take-
you're going to upset someone no matter what you do.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so why not take the time to sit down and really think about what you want to do? I mean, they're having conversations with alumni, obviously the business world, and people wonder, why can't you do it in a short period of time? Just to put in perspective, you know that the Los Angeles Rams have a new logo, and it took 2 years to get it through all of the proper channels to get it done, including the NFL and copyright infringements, all the things you need to look into. So it's not something that's just a flip of the switch. Okay, here's a name, let's go. So it takes time, and we're doing it the right way.
And, of course, Mr. McGee will be getting a tattoo of that logo when it does arrive.
As soon as it's official.
Is Mr.
Is it
Theismann
going to be a
aware
big
of
one
that?
on your back like the other one?
Yeah, like the big Theismann. I have the back of Joe's jersey on my back.
Theismann 7?
Oh, is Joe aware that I suggested that?
A big 7. Oh, yeah, he knows about it. Yeah.
Joe, I don't want to get too personal. Do you have any tattoos?
I do not.
Okay.
I thought about one a long, long time ago, and I just decided that it didn't make sense for me to have a tattoo, so I do not have one.
Because the correct answer, Joe, would have been, yes, I have a Chick McGee tattoo.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
But
huh?
here is, now that you mention it, I'm considering a Chick McGee.
Okay.
Oh.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
even a picture we could Photoshop one on. My God, I'm going to get on this. I'll get
That'd be
that done.
good. Yeah.
Joe Theismann is our guest, a distinguished athlete and author. Joe happens to have a new book out.
Yes, he does.
Entitled "How to Be a Champion Every Day: 6 Timeless Keys to Success." Oh, tell me about the book, Joe.
I wrote the book. It's actually been a labor of love for about the last 4 years, and I know we've all done things. You know, you start a project and you get quite a ways through it, and then all of a sudden something happens and it gets delayed and delayed and delayed. And finally, the beginning of this year, I made up my mind that I was going to finish it. It's based upon a lot of the presentations I do, talk about opportunities, goals. There's stories of football, my career, but it's not a football book. It's actually a business book. And I love doing it. General Colin Powell was someone who contributed on leadership in it for me. So it isn't just my concepts, my ideas. It's a collaboration of a lot of great people with abilities to be able to share information when it comes to our own personal lives. And really, when you look at 3 specific areas, the world of sports, the world of business, and our own lives, they all parallel one another. And that was the principle and basis of the book. And so I enjoyed reading it from my times, at the University of Notre Dame, where my name was changed from Theismann to Theismann to rhyme with the trophy, of which I didn't win. And
you couldn't change it to Thumbardi.
No.
Because, Joe, you won that one.
He won that one.
What another great idea. Joe Thumbardi.
He's really thumping, isn't he? Oh, there it is. There's
Another potential tattoo. I mean, what can I tell you?
Yeah.
That's all it is. But so I just really, and I've dedicated the book to the men and women who have made sacrifices and their families for our country and for the service of our country. So it's important to me that I hope people enjoy it. Probably the best compliment I've gotten is I had a buddy of mine read it, and he said, "Joe, the book sounds like you." And so what the writers were able to do, the writer, Jennifer Brown, was able to do was really capture what I wanted to say the way I wanted to say it. And that I'm very proud of.
Do you read the audiobook?
I've done it. I did the audiobook, yes. The audiobook is available. I read the entire audiobook, and it is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I say that because as we have a conversation, you can tell stories. You can tell all kinds of stories. But then all of a sudden, when you sit down and actually read the stories, all the thes and the plurals and all the commas and the pauses, you sort of blow through them when you're in conversation with someone. But when you're doing an audiobook, it just takes the time to do it. It took me 3.5 days to do the audiobook.
Wow.
And it's like page after page after page.
Oh,
and it's
goodness.
like, I remember that story. So now you start to forget about what's on the pages and start to tell the story. And the control room would say to me, "No, Joe, that isn't what it says."
Joe, you are not the first person to tell me that exact same thing. Peter Frampton just did his audiobook, same deal. But, Joe, when I asked you if you read the audiobook, the correct answer was no, Chick McGee has read the...
That would have been something, huh? Don't let you're laughing too much at this idea.
Give me another question. I'll have the right answer, I promise.
Okay, actually, I have kind of a silly question for you, Joe.
Oh, good.
We're speaking with the great Joe Theismann, and Mr. Theismann has a new book out called "How to Be a Champion Every Day," and it's about your life, it's about your business, it's about sports, and lots of different things. We had an interesting news story today, Joe, about a 92-year-old gentleman in Maine who still had his high school letter jacket, which he misplaced a few months ago, and through various social media he found it. Do you, by chance, still have a high school letter jacket?
Actually, I gave it to Chick. He actually has it in his possession now.
If only.
Very well done.
My goodness.
Oddly enough, I do. I do have my high school letter jacket. Yes, I do.
What was the name of your high school?
I had to get it from Chick.
Yep.
But no, it was South River High School in South River, New Jersey. We were the South River Rams.
Yeah.
And I was, I mean, it was, I talked to a lot of my buddies. It's funny, my time in Canada when I was in Toronto, I remember a lot of the guys I played with, obviously with the Washington football team, a lot of them. And then my high school buddies, we stay in touch, half a dozen of them from time to time. And we're all reaching that point where we have to remind each other what we did.
Sure.
Some guys have parts of stories, some guys have other parts of stories, so you put them together for a really fun story. It was, I grew up in a really small town. It's right in the middle of New Jersey. It's right in Middlesex County, and we had East Brunswick, Saraville, South River, South Amboy. Everything was right around. As a matter of fact, my wide receiver in high school was a kid by the name of Drew Pearson.
I was just going to say that. I thought I'd remembered that. Yeah, Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Drew Pearson.
And what's interesting, too, is, and it's a shame, is Drew is the only member of the all-decade team that is not in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And I believe that will and should be rectified this year. Yeah. Was a great Dallas Cowboy receiver. And, hopefully that justice will be done and he'll be in the Hall of Fame this year as they get voted in a crazy year.
Okay. On a much lighter note, first of all, we are speaking with NFL great Joe Theismann, and his new book is How to Be a Champion Every Day. You can find it at your favorite bookstore or perhaps on Amazon. And I'm looking forward to reading the book. And if the audiobook is, as we mentioned, read by Joe. Joe, do you have the Joe Theismann bobblehead doll?
Actually, no, I don't. I have a Chick McGee bobblehead.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But, which is much more valuable.
I mentioned this because, Joe, you can't see this, but right now Chick is holding up his Joe Theismann bobblehead doll that he keeps, Joe, at all times. It is in the Bob and Tom studios. I'm not kidding.
Yep.
Actually, you hold you share some interesting company. I have also a starting lineup figure of Kirk Cousins, and I have a starting lineup figure of Robert Griffin right here. Yeah.
Oh, great! So all I need to do is go to another team. That's very flattering, Chick. Thank you.
One last question, Mr. Theismann. I assume you probably have some kind of office at your residence. Do you have any framed sports pictures in the office of any heroes? Or
There is one particular picture that I have in the office, and I can't show you that now because I'm on a phone. Yeah. But it sits right between the Super Bowl trophy and the NFL MVP trophy, and it has a very, very special place in my office. It's a picture of Chick when he came to a Washington football game, and the look on his face when he walked into the stadium is priceless. It was like he put his hands to his cheeks and he went, "Oh my God!"
Thank you, Joe.
And it's priceless. It's one of those things that you always keep close to your heart.
Yes.
And in your office.
And that picture of me being introduced to, Joe introduced me to John Riggins, and Joe goes, "Hey, JR, this is a big fan of Chick McGee." And I never will forget what JR said. John Riggins said, "Yeah." It was unbelievable.
And did you say, "Can I call you Riggo?"
I do remember that.
You do? Yeah, I can't forget it, yeah.
And he told me later that he was so speechless that he was meeting you. He didn't know what to say.
That's very nice.
It was like, what am I going to say to the great Chick McGee?
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you left them speechless.
Our guest Joe Thumbardi. The book is How to Be a Champion Every Day. Joe Theismann. Thank you, Joe. What a great pleasure to speak to you. Always
nice.
Great. Hope to see you in person soon.
Too many years. I hope
Yes,
so
you
too.
need to
Everybody
come in. You
have
need
a
to come.
wonderful holiday.
Big visit.
I've got to stop back in the studio. You're right.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, great, Joe. Thanks so much.
Once we get to travel again. Thanks,
Yes,
everybody. Stay
that's right.
safe. Have
Okay.
a happy holiday.
Thanks, Joe.
You too, Joe.
How to be a champion every day. Joe Theismann. And you didn't want the surprise.
I stand corrected.
You're sitting.
Apologize. I apologize fully and completely. What an amazing.
Joe has such a great sense of humor, too.
Oh, yes.
I know how much you love giant pandas.
I do. Wait a minute,
recent-
guys. There's a story about you.
Aw,
They're excited.
the fellas.
Well, a recent
The
study
panda fellas.
All right.
has found that wild giant pandas roll around in horse manure to help keep warm.
Well, what?
Researchers from the Chinese Academy of Sciences
don't
observed
think
the
they
giant
do that.
pandas living in the Qinling Mountains tend to go looking for fresh horse manure to roll in.
Do they?
Scientists say that compounds in the fresh horse manure help to inhibit cold activation at the molecular level
Well, it
in
does steam.
pandas.
Yeah.
Well, it explains why they can never get those pandas to have sex.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm gonna bang that guy. Smells like horse poop.
And Marianne, yikes, Winnie the Poop. I'll tell you what, it's Kung Poop Pandas. What I
That was okay.
Now, you roll and poop just to mask the BO, right, Josh?
That's right. My body odor is so offensive, I roll in feces. Why is your body odor so offensive, Josh? Well, I eat a lot. And when one is fat, they sweat.
Yeah.
And they often don't bathe because it's physically difficult. And, yeah, rah!